What do y'all know about Figment the Dragon? In 1983, the ride that originated my guy Figment the Dragon opened in Epcot at Disney World Park in Orlando, Florida. I was not alive for this momentous occasion, but if I was, I think I would have dropped dead. My first experience with Figment was as a child. I went on a version of the ride, which obviously was not the original version of the ride. It was kind of when they went more in the direction of the five senses and that, like, science, My most vivid memory was being terrified on the ride, and also I hated the smell of the skunk spray they used during the ride. Then sometime in high school, I started remembering how Figment made me feel, like as a concept. Figment was someone who stood for imagination, creativity, individuality, don't let your dreams be dreams kind of thing, And that really resonated with me, and I hope it resonated with a lot of kids. You wouldn't really know that now, because there's never a fucking line on his ride. So for my Sweet 16, I ended up going to Disney World, actually, and that was my most recent interaction with our good friend Figment. Life-changing. I cried on that ride. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but this funky little guy means the world to me. And like, this video isn't supposed to be about his history or his legacy. I actually think I'm gonna link some videos in the description who deep dive into Figment in that regard a lot better than I honestly ever could, even though I consider myself a Figment scholar. This brings me to the actual point of this video. You read the title correctly. This is about how Figment the Dragon gives me gender envy. I sure do say things on this channel, don't I? Now, is this video a joke? Yes. Am I projecting? Yes! Do I think it's funny to claim Disney characters for the LGBT community? Yeah! Yeah, I do! That's what this video is about, dude! For ease of access, I will be referring to Figment by he, him pronouns for the entirety of this video, because one, I'm not gonna misgender him. He goes by he, him pronouns. And two, non-binary people go by he, him pronouns all the time. Point number one, it's about the color scheme, my dudes. An excerpt from One Little Spark. My national anthem. Two tiny wings, eyes big and yellow. Horns of a steer, but a lovable fellow. From head to tail, he's a royal purple pigment. And there, voila, you've got a Figment. Thank you, thank you. I did not write that. Why are you cheering? Point number two. What does Figment represent? He represents individuality. He represents thinking for yourself. He represents imagination at its core, at its purest form. He is imagination. You can be anything you can dream of. You can be anything you can imagine. And that includes being non-binary. Why would this God, this all-powerful being that can just make anything happen by thinking, why would he conform to your binary? He's just a silly little dragon. Why would he ever do that? My third and final point is that in his 2002 version of the ride that I know from my childhood, there is a scene where Figment multiplies himself. There's millions of Figments, millions of different outcomes. And if you think that all of those Figments are cis, statistically that is not correct. Statistically, one of those dragons is non-binary. I think that's at this point in the video to explain the gender envy part. For context, Roger Rabbit also gives me gender envy. I think my ideal gender is just a silly little guy who just wants people to be happy so badly, and they're just colorful and fun and just genuinely, if I could look like Roger Rabbit, I would. I should have scripted this. this is going to be a disaster. This is going to be a train wreck. But honestly, I think that's how Figment would have wanted it. I think he would have wanted me to just go completely off the shits and just talk about him and just express him. And honestly, I hope he knows he's loved. I hope he knows that from this video alone, I care about him. I care about him dearly. And honestly, this might have started off as a bit, but as I'm continuing to talk, I think I just wanted to make a video about how much I love Figment. And like, if I wanted to do that in a non-binary sense and in a gender sense, sure. But also, I just care about him, you know? But also, going back to the gender point, yeah, I would love to look like Figment. I would love to present Figment. Like, genuinely. I don't know if this is a joke anymore, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. So yeah, like, this video was silly, and it was, like, mostly made out of silly goofiness and a little bit of spite, but that's beside the point. I really hope you got something from it. I really hope that if you're watching this, you either found comfort in Figment's message like I did, or you never heard of this character and you dig deeper into him. Because honestly, the lore is wild. And this is a comic book that they made with Marvel. And it's honestly fantastic. If you were really into steampunk and like science fiction and fantasy and whatever, honestly, it's a good read and it's really fun. Maybe I didn't talk enough about gender, but honestly, I'm just a non-binary person. I'm not a gender studies major. I'm not a master in gender theory. Also, Figment is a dragon. He is a fictional dragon. So I didn't really feel the need to go that deep into it, you know? I promise the next video is not going to be Disney related. I don't know why I'm thinking about Disney lately. I'm not going to be a Disney YouTuber. I am not a Disney adult. I just care about a very specific brand of Disney. And I also think that theme park rides are a dying art. And Figment is the poster child of theme park rides dying. Thank you so much for watching. This video took me 32 minutes to film when it was supposed to take 5. And honestly, I think it was worth it because I had a lot of fun. See you around. See you next time. And then a few months later, my aunt said, I went on that ride you really like. It broke down for an hour. And I said, yeah, that sounds like Figment. I love him.